Hey, what's up? You're watching On the Town. I'm your host, Tanya. We are having a little bit of technical difficulties here, so work with me. My guest today, he's a guest from from Chi-Town, and he's been doing stand-up comedy over 50 years. He has been a teacher, teacher, driver's ed teacher, worked as a principal district school superintendent, and a commercial pilot transporting, cadavers, I think it's the correct way to say, back to funeral homes. So, and he still holds a federal aviation pilot medical license, and he's still making us laugh. Please welcome Bob. Hey, Bob. If you're country, it's Billy Bob Musgrave. Hey, how are you? Can you hear me? You're on mute. Bob.
Unmute. Mute.
You're on mute. Still no camera, so we're not able to figure out technically why there's no camera. So we're just going to do the interview because I know you guys are waiting. So I'm going to play a song and see if you can figure out the technical part. I'll take you off the top here and put you down here. It's okay. You'll still be in the green room. Okay. So just see if you can figure it out while you're in the green room. You can come back on the other device. Okay. So guys, I'm just going to play a song first, just to buy us some time here, okay? I'm already broken day. I think you'll stay in close cause you love the thing. I never try to change you in any way. And when we get too close, you just push away. Don't you know I'll never hurt you, try to change or break your heart.
Hi, you are watching On the Town with Tanya. And my name is Joe Petrofaso from Harrison, New York. Okay.
Hi, guys. I'm back. That was my friend, Joe. He's a great fan of ours, and he loves supporting us. So we love that little PSA. Thank you, Joe. And I hope shout out to you if you're out there right now looking. So Bob, did you get it up? Did you get it up there, Bob? Did you get it up there? Let's see. So he's still working on his technical. Okay. Working on his technical. In the meantime, guys, there are some books I would like for you to try to see if you can help support. Oh, we got it. That was the camera. You had it, Bob. You had it. Do it again. He had the camera. Yes, success. Woo, woo, woo. There he goes. Now just sound. Just the sound. Unmute. We did it. Yes.
You are just amazing. Tanya, look at me.
Woo, woo. Wow.
Hey, hi to all my little buddies. Thank you for your help. You're a genius, Tanya Cooper.
I'm a genius. Look, I'm a genius because I told him, I'm going to kick you out the studio. Come back in. That's what I mean.
Yes. No. So who's this little Joe guy? I could hear him real good. I love hearing.
Oh, that's my friend. Wait, I'll show it again at the end.
Let me see Joey.
You want to see it? You want to see him now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
ready? Here we go. So, Joe, I got to plug you again. Ready?
Okay.
Hi, you are watching On the Town with Tanya. And my name is Joe Petrofaso from Harrison, New York. Okay.
Say hey. Thank you, Joe. Do you see that? That's my buddy. That's one of my.
How close are you to Westchester, Joey?
I live in Westchester. Yeah, I live in Westchester.
Do you really?
Yeah.
We fly in there. That's real close to Tim. That's by Tim Deary's, you know?
Airport. Yeah, Westchester Airport is right there too.
That.
I'm literally
you knew
like
that,
10.
Right?
I'm like 10 minutes from Westchester Airport. 15 minutes, maybe 15.
So, but today you are in London,
no.
right?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, for today, yes. For today, yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I did get the. Yeah. So you're going to laugh at this, Tanya. This is not a written joke, but it's true. Commercial
go ahead.
pilot. I have never been able to figure out the world time, you know, the clock thing. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Time zones.
Oh,
They change.
Please. Yeah.
I usually ask my co-pilot, whoever's flying with me, you know, and
Me
that
too.
straightens it right out. So
Yeah, but if you're supposed to be somewhere at 12 and you don't know the time, then what happens? Like that thing,
exactly.
that thing late.
You get in trouble. You get in trouble, you know.
Yeah, no, I know.
The people from behind.
Mhm.
Now, start your show. I'm so sorry I messed
Oh
up the
no,
beginning
it's
of your
okay.
show.
That's
you
okay.
know?
Hi guys, I see you out
So-
there. I can't see who it is, but I'll be getting to you. Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Share, because we're going to talk to a very interesting comedian who's been doing comedy over 50 years. Okay, can you take us through a journey from being a school teacher to becoming a professional comedian? Like, what inspired this transition?
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up with a mom and you're going to laugh at how I grew up. I grew up privileged, white, middle class, with more money than brains. We grew up on a farm, and I was raised by two loving people who loved each other, and I think that's why I'm so screwed up. You know,
because I thought you were going to say you were raised by the cats.
No, and so my friends who are watching, all my little pilot buddies, hey, Chapter 95, I know they're all out there watching. We had our big annual party yesterday, and boy, was it a doozy. Had all of our friends there, and we cooked a pig and ate some food, flew some airplanes. But to answer your question, I remember being told as a young kid that by the time I was 3 years old, I lied to my mother like a sailor. Just lied. You know, a sailor's a bad example, but just someone who could not tell the truth. And here's the first story my aunts and uncle told me as a little kid.
Okay.
Yeah, it hurt. We lived on a farm, had ponds to swim in, lakes, animals to play with, motorcycles, go-karts, things to do. I was fascinated with two things that my mother was deathly afraid of. Fire. I don't know whether she thought we were going to set her house on fire, birthday candles. The other one was water. She could not swim. So get this. I'm 3 years old. I wander out of my house, my loving home with my three brothers and sisters. I go swimming in the pond behind our house, the lake. It's beautiful. Had ducks and geese in it. I come out, my mother sees me walking to the house. I'm 3 years old. Oh, Johny Bob, what have you been doing? And I've been swimming. So she takes my clothes off, gives me a spanking, puts on new clothes, dry clothes, and she goes about her day. An hour later, I'm back in the lake again, swimming again, an hour later. No. I walk in and she goes, oh, Johny Bob, what have you been doing? Now, this time I thought it through. And I said this, Tanya, this is what I said to her. Well, I haven't been swimming, if that's what you're thinking. So then I get a spanking for swimming and a number 2 spanking for lying. Oh. This woman did not deserve that, you know? Why would you do that as a 3-year-old kid? You know? That's how I started my life.
That's how you started off, just not telling the truth, huh? How did
not
you
telling the truth? And it took me till I was in my mid-30s, and the love of my life, mother of my children, kicked me to the curb. And at that day, I decided I was going to change my life right then, you know, and I did. It was hard, but I started kind of being a better person. Now, also living on the farm, my mother had chickens. And if any of your listeners know what a leghorn chicken is, that's the white chicken. I don't mean to be colored, but they're white. You can buy red ones, black ones, anyway. But the white ones, for some reason, they like good eggs. And I would go out and I'd throw them in the air to watch them fly because I loved to watch the birds fly. And my mother would get quite upset with me because it would influence their egg production. You see what I'm saying? And so she would scold me for messing with her chickens. And then another story that yes. And so I don't know if you know this about chickens. You ever been around chickens, Tanya, or your listeners?
My forever mom grew up on a farm, and we used to go down and see all the time.
Yes. And you referred to her, I think, when we did our last stand-up comedy together.
Yeah.
My mother, when she was a young mother raising us kids, she would take me into the house, chicken house, and the chickens would be very contented. And she showed me the two sounds that they made. When they're contented and laying eggs, they go. It's very low key, but when they see an animal coming to get them or me to throw them in the air, they go. Yes, it's real loud. Yes.
Not just,
And until I was in 3rd grade, I wanted to be a duck, a mallard duck. That was my goal in life.
Wow.
A duck, flies. Think about it, Tanya. And swims. It's the ultimate animal,
Really?
To this day, ducks and geese are still my favorite bird. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, but I don't like walking in there, blah, blah.
No, they're messy. They're kind of messy. And ducks and geese are the messiest birds when it comes to water. They'll take perfectly good drinking water and just mess it up,
I know. That's the problem. What's your favorite animal on the farm? I'm just curious.
Yes. Probably the goose, a mallard duck, or a Canadian goose. Yeah.
Oh, Canadian goose.
Yeah. Horses, not so much horses.
No.
Horses are they're like a 3-year-old kid.
Okay.
Horses are kind of not real bright. And if they get spooked, they're a prey animal. You know this? So they think everything is going to get them, and that's why they buck and throw you off. And, don't get me wrong. They're nice and soft noses and everything, but yeah.
I love horses.
We had horses.
I love horses.
No, I understand. Women, a lot of women. Did he have a name?
Butterball at my camp when I was I was way younger. But Butterball, because she had a big belly or something, probably a defected horse. I don't know. But I just good. If I would have known they can throw you off like that. I watched somebody get thrown off, and on one of the islands we went horseback riding on the water. Bad idea. Yeah. And I stopped riding horses after that. I never rode a horse again because they were really mistreated. But they they don't feed them until they finish the trip. So I was not happy with that. I was like, oh my God, so I'm contributing to his poor horse starving all day. And that's how they get him to work. That's disgusting. So I just was like, never again. Any of those trips, any of those trips, I would never.
When we rode our horses away from the house, they went real slow, like they were about to die. As soon as you turned and went back to the house, they went like high speed because they knew they were going to get a meal. They were going to get a little. So they're smart in that way. They're pretty smart.
They are. And I just feel like I wouldn't want somebody to do that to me. So I'm funny about stuff like that now. I probably wouldn't even own a dog if it wasn't a gift. But
sure.
Now I'm in love with it. I can't give it back. So you, I mean, you've done a lot in your time. So I have lots of questions in different arenas.
Before we keep, what's your time? How much time have we got, Tanya? I'm watching.
I sometimes take half an hour, but since we're stalled, I'm going to take the 45 minutes ish.
So about 4:30, about 45 minutes. That's fine. I've got
or less.
I've got answers for all.
Good. If I can read less. First, so how did you? I know you did driver's ed. Let me see. You did so many things. And there's so many good things that I'm sure influences your comedy. How did your experience as a driver's ed teacher influence your approach to comedy or your connection with the audience?
Absolutely. So you mentioned something earlier. I'm sorry I don't have a lot of my sets posted. Tim has done most of them, but I need to do that. I'm going to start putting them on YouTube. But I'll give you a perfect example of when I was a young driver ed teacher. And this became a joke in one of my early acts. I had a young girl in driver ed. I won't use her name because I still like her and admire her a lot. She had an IQ of in the 180s, 190s, it's almost Einstein, almost genius level. And we had heard about her coming up through the grades even at second grade, they would jump her ahead 2 or 3 grades. And junior high, she skipped 7th grade. When she gets to me, she had to wait 15 in Illinois to get her license. But she walks into my classroom the first day, and I didn't know quite what to expect. And she says, this is what she told me. The only reason I'm taking your class is because it's required. But when I get out of high school and college, I'll be hiring my driving done for me. Think about that. Think about the confidence this woman had at age 15. And you know, she was right. She today is a cancer researcher out on the East Coast somewhere for like one of the big hospitals. And I'm sure she has cured several cancers, you know, and that was her goal. That's what she wanted to do. But here's the story. The reason I'm telling you this story, Tanya, she gets in the car and we're driving and it's on a busy, just busy as it can be. And for some reason, she started slowing down and she was in the busiest traffic that could be. So there's like one lane, she's in the middle. There's 2 or 3 lanes on both sides of us. The cars are, and she stops in the middle of the traffic. They're going 70 miles an hour by us. I look in my mirror because I have an extra mirror, you know, in the driver aid car.
Right.
And I look in the mirror. There's a big football player sitting on one side and a younger girl, you know, a smaller girl sitting on the backside. And they're literally doing this, Tanya. And as the vehicles go by at 70 miles an hour, the wind creates the car would move like this. And the kids in the back are they're scared to death. And I yelled at her, just yelled, get this car moving. And this is what she did, Tanya, just like this. I'll never forget it. She put it in park. We're sitting in the middle of traffic, folded her arms, turned and looked at me. And she said, you know, Mr. Musgrave, if you would stop yelling at me, I might do a little better.
Oh, gosh. But to stop in the middle and just no hazard lights?
No hazard. She was the hazard, you know. And
you're lucky.
And I was,
You're lucky when you did it. I got hit twice at a stop sign. Yeah, that's crazy.
But she changed the way I dealt with people. My my patience, my tone of voice, how I talk to people. So I'm forever grateful for her doing that. And of course, I go back to reunions every few years. And she loves to tell that story. You know, I almost killed Musgrave years ago, and she's kind of, kind of proud of it. But so things like that. That was one of them. Learn to be patient. You know. Yes,
patience is a virtue.
And also 2 ears. Listen a lot more than you talk. I think good comedians have to be good listeners. You know. And we talked about any of the young people, not even older people. I'm getting to be 75 years old. You have to write every day. When I get up, first thing I do is I come into my little studio here, and I have my piano here. I play my piano every day, and then I write some jokes, and I put them on paper like this with a little, you know. And I'm sure you do the same thing. If you see something funny, you write it down, and then you build on it, and then you try it with you try it with your friends, you know.
Yeah. It's hard when you're in a different place, so it's a little weird. But
it is. And so to answer that question, here, I write with this. I put it on Siri or put it on notes. It's
it's easy to thing. I'm saying to practice until you find badslava.com is a great site, by the way, guys. If you're a comedian and you're anywhere in the world, go to badslava.com. And anywhere in the world, Japan, Africa, doesn't matter where you're at, it will tell you where your local mic is, open mic is. So that's good. There are some places, but they're kind of far from here for me. But
write that down.
Start a mic or figure something out. I'll figure it out.
I love that.
When I get back, it's okay.
Great.
Yeah, so thank you for the tips, and you guys will be getting tips throughout the thing. Bob has over 50 years experience. Okay, so he's a pro comic, and so we're going to take advantage of that. So you have a aviation medical license, and you've flown dead bodies like that. Whoa. You and my mom would have something in common. She used to do the dead people's hair and makeup.
Yes, I love that when we did your set. You know, remember who else was with us that night? It was you. I had it written down. I was going to think. Tim
I
Deary was
forgot.
there.
Yeah, I forgot the other comic's name. One of them.
Young Lee was there.
Yes,
Lee.
Young Lee. Yes.
And
Yeah.
a couple other women. Lucy was there.
One tried to steal my joke, so I remember her.
Yeah.
I remember her.
Go ahead. I don't want to steal your thunder. So your mother, your forever mother, fixed the hair and makeup at the
nursing home.
Right?
She used to say, "Don't be scared of the dead. It's the live that'll kill you."
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And she used some of it. They don't want any. They don't. Most people want a woman mortician or a person that does the hair because and I said why? Because they know that women won't diddle over the body.
I could see that. Isn't that terrible?
I know. I'm so bad. That was really bad, guys. I'll make it
I knew where that was going. I knew where that was going. Yeah.
Well, no, there was. Well, I have another version of that joke. They're not going to bone nobody.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a lot of that one. You can go forever. But yeah. So you have the medical license. Has anything weird ever happened when you were flying a body? I'm just curious.
You know, there's an old saying with pilots, and what to clarify what that is. They call them medicals, and you have to go in and get checked. One of them is first class. That's where they give you the most scrutiny. That's the airline guys and gals. The second one is second class, and that's only every year or so, and not quite as invasive. Third class is for people like me that just do it, you know, for fun. And we do the smaller planes, like the little spinny. They have the little props on them, you know, like you wear on the top of your head. So, but I'm kind of impressed that I can still pass it being 75 years old. You know, I got to thank my family, you know, for good genes. My mom and dad.
Good genes.
You know?
Yes. No, that's great. You look amazing. I mean, and
thank you.
You give me hope. I'll be, well, I won't say my age. A woman never tells. I'll just say I'll be over 58 soon.
You know, and my mother, I learned so many things from her. She was the boss. She was ahead of her time. She wore the pants, as we called it, Tanya, back then. And she would tell everybody what to do. She was the boss. Isn't that something 50 years ago?
She's mom's always the boss, especially 50 years ago. Dad pretended like they're a boss, but mom's was really the boss.
She was in charge.
In families, certain cultures, you knew who was running the family. It's like clear and evident. So your comedy is often, comedy is often about timing and delivery. Did your teaching background give you any insight into like how to connect with an audience?
Oh, yes, sure. It did. I'll share a story. Young girl, I taught driver ed, so they're all 15 years old. This class, I noticed about once a month, twice a month, these girls would come in. There was like 3 of them, and they'd go to their seats and they'd just talk for the first 10 minutes of the class. And it drove me nuts because I wanted to teach them stop sign. And anyway, so I asked one of the girls, I said, "What's going on?" And they said, "Well, young girls, 15, we're kind of always in conflict with our mothers. And if one of us has a big fight, that's all we talk about for the first 10 minutes of class," because it was the first class of the day. And I thought, wow. I said, "Is there anything I can do to help so we can get back to our lesson?" And one of the girls said, "I'll let you know the next time I've had a big fight with my mom. We'll just take our chairs. We'll go out in the hall, and for 10 minutes, we'll get it sorted out, and then we'll come back in." And I said, "Perfect. Isn't that amazing?"
That's hilarious, though.
These girls graduate several years later, and I reminded her of that story. And now she's 17, 18 years old. And she told me why it was so funny to her. And she didn't want to tell the true reason. She says, "Mr. Musgrave, it's very respectful." She says, "I'll tell you what was so funny about that. What we were talking about was things we weren't allowed to do." She says, "I know about sex. I know about cigarettes. I know about drinking alcohol. I know how to drive a car. And legally, I can't do any of them. And I'm going nuts living with my mother, because mom knows I can do all those things too." Isn't that funny? Isn't that true with our young, daughters and their mothers?
Yep. Sounds like teenage life. Very interesting.
It was, and I learned a lot about that and listening to them. You know,
Yeah, I love teaching. It has helped me with comedy a lot,
I
more
did
than
too.
more than I think. What have been
I did
some
too.
of the most what has been some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned in your comedy career over the past 50 years? Amazing. You should get an award for that. 50 years, just a long time.
Yeah, well, I think I can sum that up real quick. And you know this as a fellow comedian and a fellow person who goes on stage. You know this, but for your audience, will you help me out here and jump in? We know that a lot of comedians had some real bad things or not normal things happen early in their lives. You know what I'm talking about. Either
Absolutely.
parents, you kind of were raised by your forever mother. You know what I'm, not to get personal. I'll
Yeah,
use
no,
an example. Look at Richard Pryor.
oh yeah, I'm a good
His
example.
background, his grandmother ran a prostitute house, you know. Can you imagine a little boy growing up and having this? And everybody has a struggle, and they take that struggle and find, you know, does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. That's what is comedy to me. It's always about what your struggle was, whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
Look at
Whatever that
Maria Bamford. Do you ever watch any of
I haven't
Maria?
watched.
She's the real skinny white. She's out of here local with us. She's up in Minneapolis. Maria apparently was just close to schizophrenia when she was a young girl. Just mental illness, just on the edge all the time. And now that's part of her whole act, is, you know.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
You have to bring your truth to it. And I'm learning. I mean, I'm 9 years in, takeaway 4 for the pandemic. So I'm a baby. But that's, to me, I can't get up on stage and talk about your stuff. That doesn't make sense. That's why I hate people that steal jokes, because why are you stealing it? It's not your
You gotta be real.
Yeah.
Gotta be real. Gotta be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be authentic.
That being said, Tim Derry, that's why I met you. It was the beginning of the pandemic, and I had just got all this new equipment, this iMac, this microphone, cameras, and I was going to just have a ball going on social media, and I did. And that's how I met Tim, you know. And he says, "Come on out to New York, we'll put you on live." And oh my gosh, good friends. I met you, you know.
Yes, I love that. During the pandemic, I made a lot of comedy friends, and they all have came
I did
through.
too.
Yes. Yeah, Tim is another one who came through. Like he said, "Oh, come on, when you're back, let me know." And I was like, "I'm back," and so he put me on the show. It was great. But let's see. Have you noticed any?
Have you ever looked at?
Sorry, go ahead. Have I ever what?
Have you ever looked at any of his Mummies on Main Street stuff? That's his name. That's his stage name. By the way, do a little promotion here. Let me give you the places they can look at some of my stuff. TikTok, you know, Emma Oeva.
Let me put it over there.
Emma Oeva.
Wait a minute. Who's this? Somebody's here. Oh, hey, Ma. Hey, Norma. How are you? Oh, happy Sunday. Yes, I forgot. Hi, Jen. What's up? That's funny. I see you guys. Thank you. Okay, go ahead. So TikTok.
TikTok.
You know what?
Emma Oeva.
Wait a minute. 1 second. Let me
Go
catch
TikTok.
up with my stuff. Wait a minute. Let me see. First, okay, create a banner. Okay, so TikTok. What is it?
Emma O Ava. AVA. Emma Oeva.
Okay, so let me see.
And you don't even need to go to TikTok. Just type in Emma Oeva on your device. It'll come up with all kinds.
Emma Oeva. Wait, am I spelling it right? Look on it.
AVA.
Oh, I did that so wrong. Okay, people. And you will learn how to get it together. So, okay, EMA. That's it. Okay. Oh,
no, you had an O. Then the next one is A. Emma.
So
EMA.
Wait. EMAO.
Yep.
AVA.
Correct. You got it.
Okay, I think I got it. Let's see. Is this right? Tell me. Emova.
That's it. You got it. You got it.
So you can find them on TikTok there. And
just type it into your phone, and you'll see all kinds of pictures. It'll make them have all kinds of questions about why I do what I do.
Okay, gotcha.
Matter of fact, yeah.
That's cool. As long as I don't see nobody's, we're good.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
That's a joke. It's a bad joke. What does it say? So, have you noticed any major changes in comedy scene over these decades? Like, especially considering your teaching background and you've been doing it so long. Have you noticed any changes, and what would you change if you had to change something?
Sure. You know, it seems like even right around the pandemic, 1918, we were starting to notice that people would get more offended more easily, like you said, by what your joke was or what you were talking about. Here's a joke that I wrote that I would use, and I was amazed how the blowback I got on it.
Okay.
You know, we grew up in an era where you rode in a car with no seatbelts, no helmets, you know, and you played outside till dark. And if you got run over, your mom said, walk it off, you'll be fine, you know. Now the kids have therapists, they've got help animals, they get participation trophies. So I wrote this joke. I said, you know, I love to go down to the local junior college and set out in the quad where all the kids are, and I'll find a group of millennials that are depressed, and I carry a bag of participation trophies. And I hand them out to the kids in the quad, you know. And boy, they got pissed at that. They thought that was a little too invasive, you know, because that's how they grew up. It didn't make any difference whether they won or lost. If they got one more run score in baseball than the other team, everybody gets a trophy, you know.
Wow,
So,
that's ridiculous. That's crazy.
That,
it's not
that was one. You know who? And yes, some of the other comedians that, you know, I admire Dave Chappelle. He talks about it. You know, he got in big trouble with the trans community. You know, this happened about what was during. Yes, go look at it.
I didn't find anything that crazy. I thought they were talking about something crazy. I didn't find anything that crazy. He was making a point about something else, and actually, he was bigging up one friend who was she at the show, or something happened with the young lady? I forgot.
She was at the show. She was, and he actually liked her. He became really good friends with her.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. So I think people they mix and bob and weave what they want to hear. So even if I'm saying with if I say about racism, let's say, right, I have to be able to decipher.
Yes.
Okay, this is this person's belief because they grew up with a jerk parent. And let's separate that from, let's see if they can just hear me and we can hear each other, and that's it. We don't have to like each other. You know what I'm saying? I don't need approval and you don't need approval, right? So as long as there's respect, then we good. Yes. You know, sometimes we get all tizzied over, you know, oh, they said this about me. Relax, fall back. If it don't apply, let it fly. And if you get offended, something's wrong, right? Something's very wrong. So it's probably on your end. If you
I listened to several of your podcasts, and you've got some good ones. I went back because I wanted to get a sense of what people you had interviewed. One of them, and you may have done more than one, was about the mental health of people.
Yes.
Our own personal, man, what a great podcast that was.
Oh, thank you. And that's all I do. Thank you.
I am convinced that that's where a lot of our issues are today, with people being as hateful to each other, the way the country is divided, not getting into politics, but we can see, you ask what I learned. I can see that coming in education years ago, you know?
Yes.
And I think we need more of that, you know?
Yeah, we need more laughter, I believe, and we do need more mental health services, but I believe that one of them that's free is laughter. If you go to comedy clubs, find free comedy, whatever it is you got. That's why we do those shows online, because somebody's sitting at home, they can't get out. You know, especially during the pandemic, people told me how much it really kept them sane, that they felt like they were in my living room or something, you know? Maybe now because we're out, it's not as, you know, it's dire, but you know, when you're sitting, there's a lot of people I know right now sitting home depressed or lonely. You know what I'm saying? Comedy really helps a lot of people. So if you do it right, in my opinion, you know, you're going to help, you know, motivate somebody or get somebody inspired, or just make someone have one day that they can smile. Just one day. That's all you need sometimes. You know, nothing's perfect. comics, there's some comics that are a little too much for me, but overall, there's so many of us that you can find your type and your favorite if you keep looking, and it will help you, especially if you have depression or sadness. It'll help you so much,
Yeah.
That's how I got into it. That's how I got into it.
So I get criticized for this a lot, but I'm still going to do it because it's me. I have certain comedians that I really love. I will watch their YouTubes. I'll go to their shows. There's one young guy named Jim Leeson, kind of a younger man in his 30s.
Okay.
Jim Leeson, I believe he's out of the Midwest here somewhere like Michigan or something like that. And he travels the circuit, but he does crowd work. Now you've seen crowd work before. That's where you talk, what do you do, sir? What do you do, ma'am? And they will respond in some kind. And if you can immediately pick up on that and put something funny back to that, the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah.
However, if it doesn't go well, Tanya, it is the quietest room you ever saw. You know what I mean?
Oh, I've seen it. I've been lucky so far. I've only had one.
Have you ever done any? You ever done any? Yeah.
Have I ever done what? Say it again. I didn't hear that.
Crowd work. Have you ever tried it?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. No, I have. I'm lucky that it just so happened that everything in the timing was correct and perfect for me when I did do it, because it wasn't something I learned.
Yes.
I just, I used to be a speaker. I am a speaker for other stuff for foster youth. So I'm used to speaking to 1,000 people, 300 people. It don't matter to me. So I'm just perfecting the comedian version of it, making it fun. So I take all my skills from my past jobs and past experiences and degrees, and I put them all into the comedy, and it happens to work for me. I talk about foster care because I was a foster kid. I talk about the difference between being adopted. Yeah. So it's all good. What was I going to say?
Can I give you a joke?
Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say. Go ahead. Give me 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I worked in foster care in Quincy, Illinois, which is on the Mississippi River.
Oh boy, you were really down there.
Yes, and these were behavior disorder kids. You know what? I'm really bad. The ones that use the bad language and get kicked out of school.
Yeah.
And my first week there, I'm in my office as assistant principal, and I hear out in the hall, "Hey, we got a jumper out on the roof. We got a jumper." Like suicide, like there's a kid up on the roof and he's going to jump. And because these kids are struggling with all kinds of issues. Yeah. And I run to the front of the building, see what I can do to help. And as soon as I get there, the assistant principal, who was a lady above me, Jackie was her name. She was a gal about 6'6", just, weighed about 240 and just didn't take any bull crap off anybody. She looks up and sees who it was and looks at me and she goes, "Go back inside." Says, "He's not a jumper. He's a drama queen. He just wants the attention." And we all went back in, and about 15 minutes later, he climbs back down and comes in for lunch. Is that not hilarious? He's not a jumper.
He came back in.
Drama queen.
Oh, thank God she knew him well. That's important.
Came back in. Yeah.
That's important. She knew her. Yes. She knew her kids. That's important because that could have went left.
She did. Didn't mean to interrupt, but that was a joke. You reminded me of a joke that I wrote years ago. He's not a jumper. He's a drama queen.
Yeah, I know what you did. When you're in that field as principal, teaching, working with kids, any of that, you better know your kids, because that could be a moment where it's like, oh, okay, and then we know it's not serious, or it could be, no, this is serious. So it's good that she knew them. She knew him well enough to know, like, he just wants attention. Yeah. Thank God, because a lot of people don't.
I admire you. I admire you for working in foster care too. That was great. Good for you.
Well, I had a nonprofit for 12 years. I don't know how many years, since 2009, really, but 2014 became official. A 501c3, and I just helped with gift boxes and scholarships. And really, the community was the one. The kids, Mount Kisco, Bedford Hills, Chapel, all that surrounding community, and some people from out of the state, actually, Carolinas, wherever. I also helped, but it was really the people that helped, because those kids were, aged out of foster care in college, and that's the worst time. That's when they're most vulnerable. When they leave care is when they are the most vulnerable, and that's when the system says, "Oh, absolutely. You're 26. At 26, goodbye. And it's like, well, at 26, wasn't that when you start messing up? Like in life? Like, isn't that when you're like, I had the bad boyfriend, I had to move out of the apartment, and now I don't have nowhere to go. Like that's when you need the help. So we did it as a community, and I appreciate my community so much. And now I still help some kids, but I don't do it as like that because it's just not. At my age, you start concentrating on, I'm getting up there. I have a birthday in February, and you have to start thinking about what do I want to do to leave my legacy. So comedy is one of them, and interviewing people is my second one.
Yeah,
so that's my thing now. That's my thing.
My legacy, comedy is fun, but I have 2 children, 2 grown adult children, and between them, they have 4 grandchildren. And
Wow.
to me, that's having those in my life.
That's a legacy.
Oh, it just changed my life. They made me a better person. All 6 of them,
Oh yeah,
so
mine.
8 of them have their spouses too,
Wow. Yeah. No, I have one, and I'm so blessed. I can't even believe it. To me, every day is like a miracle. I'm like, wow, I'm a grandma. But reflecting back, is there anything that you wish you had done differently in your comedy career path, or anything different that you would have done?
Yeah, there's some things I could have really done different, and I was so blessed as a young person. I always wanted to be a commercial pilot. That didn't really work out because Vietnam and everything. I never wanted to be a teacher, but as I look back, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because it gave me that 10 years to figure out, this, a lot of kids out of high school don't know what they want to do. You see them at age 29 or 30, and all of a sudden they go, hey, I like to work with animals. Why didn't I know that back then? They probably did, but they didn't realize it until they're 30, So to answer your question, they weren't exposed to it, yes. So to answer your question, I had really good opportunities when I was younger, and my family was just getting started, and I always felt guilty leaving them. And I'll give you some examples. Where I'm talking to you today is 50 miles from downtown Chicago.
Oh.
Do you realize Second City is like 50 minutes from my house? Second City.
Improv, baby.
Have some of your viewers have your viewers type in Second City. Yes. And I'll give you 2 people that were there when I was 22, 23 years old. And I never forgot this. I didn't know them real well. I used to go to Second City, and it cost us like $2 to go in the door. And Tanya, Second City back then, the tables were the size of a dinner plate. And think about it. They did it so they could get more $2, And when you were in there, you were on top of each other. And these are some of the people. This is one of my favorite shows, and I never saw him perform, but I would see him coming and going, 2 guys all day long. And after the show was over, they hung out across the street. Bill Murray and John Prine.
What?
The songwriter. They were good friends. Did you not know that?
Nope, I did not
John
know that.
Prine, he just died, just passed away in Nashville like a year and a half ago.
Everybody.
Have your viewers type in John Prine / Bill Murray interview.
Prime.
They talk about that, dude. Prine, John, John Prine, Prine. You've heard his songs. John Prine, Prine.
Oh, any. Okay. Okay. Bill Murray. You guys know that's capitalized.
Like Prine or Prine, Prine. John Prine.
Yeah, it'll probably pop up, guys. So just look what you're typing. You'll probably type that in that interview. He said.
John Prine and Bill Murray. Put Bill Murray's name in there. Bill, like from Saturday Night Live.
I got it.
Shack.
Yeah, it's in there. So
have them go type in and watch that interview. And they did not even realize how good they were, probably as young men and women. And Chris Christopherson saw John. John was a mailman. He delivered mail in Cicero, Illinois, which is the suburb just west of Second City in Chicago. Right. And after he would get done delivering the mail, put his mail bag away, get his guitar, and he played in the club across the street from Second City. Bill Murray would be performing in Second City, And after he would get done, he would go over and listen to John Prine. And we know where all those places are at. And I was running those streets as a young kid, didn't even realize those guys, were right there with us.
Did you take
Gilda
it?
Radner went there.
She's my favorite. She's the reason why I got
no.
Her, Carol Burnett, and Lucille Ball.
Which one?
Carol Burnett, Lucille Ball, and Gilda
yes.
Radner. And I saw her on Saturday Night Live. I was like, that's it. That's the job I want. That's it. I went to Upright Citizens Brigade. I don't know if you know. I went to UCB.
No, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And that's if there's anything I regret, it's not getting more involved in those kind of things. I knew about them. I knew about SCTV in Toronto, but you know why I didn't go up there? I didn't want the hassle of going over the border, because they check your papers and but I should have gone to Toronto, should have gone to Second City more,
Okay. Well, we live and we learn, right? Yeah. How do you stay creative and fresh in your comedy after so many years in the business?
Oh, the TikTok, I don't know if you watch much social media.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta go on the devices. I'm addicted to it. I've never been addicted to anything in my life.
I'm allowed 1 hour.
Yeah, I'm addicted.
That's it.
My friends, Jana, if you're watching, I swear I'm gonna get help. That's one of my friends. She says, you need to get off of that TikTok.
That addiction.
Here's a joke that I wrote, and Jana, I'll do it for her. Jana loves this joke. When I was a young pilot, I would fly my airplane to the farm, land in my mother's pasture, go have lunch with my mom, kiss her goodbye, get in the airplane, come back to Chicago. She lived like 150 miles south.
Wow.
One day I get ready to go down there. It was almost this time of the year, and she farmed. She was physically did the work. She was lighting a gas-fired grain dryer. Have you ever lit a gas grill? You turn the gas on and then you push the button, click, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And then if it doesn't light the first couple times, it'll go boom, and it's a big explosion. She was lighting this dryer, it's the size of a school bus. And to see what was going on, she opened the little trap door on the side, stuck her head in to see what it was doing. As she's lighting it off, the thing goes off in flames, melted her eyebrows.
What?
Melted her hair. Her hair stood up like this.
Oh,
do you know what? Lord. You know Don King, the fight promoter? Yeah. Remember what Don's hair looked like?
Yes.
Have your audience get this joke. Look up Don King right now. Go look him up. Don King. His hair was like, he didn't have good hair.
What? Wow.
Oh, it was red. It was burnt red. So get this. I said, you need to go to the doctor. Oh, you got to have lunch. We go in the house. We have lunch. Her hair is melted. No eyebrows. She walks me back to the airplane, which is in her backyard. As I'm getting in the airplane, she leans into the door, kisses me on the face, and says this, you be careful, Johnny. You could get hurt in these things. I said, Mother, look at your head. It's burnt off. You've got melted hair. You got no eyebrows, and your face, your skin is falling off. I think I'm going to be okay. Jana, that was for you. If you're watching, Jana. That's a real life situation that really happened.
That's crazy.
That was one of my first jokes.
That was one of your first.
It was crazy.
Wow. What was the most outrageous joke? Go ahead. Finish.
I tried the cursing and the using the F word and very inappropriate. I could do it, but it just wasn't me. And that's I did that for a couple of years. And finally, I had one of my former students come up to me. I was doing an open mic night in Quincy, Illinois, and also one in Springfield, Illinois, which is where I lived at the time. Do you remember the Rodney Carrington show from TV? Rodney Carrington. He was short-lived, just a couple of years. He was good friends. He was good friends with Barry Martin, who was my age, was a teacher in Springfield, Illinois. And Barry and I used to do, we would host comedy nights in Springfield, Illinois, right across from the state capitol. I was in Springfield one night, and some of my kids came in and heard my show. And after it was over, one of the girls come up and she goes, Mr. Musgrave, I like your jokes, but she said, your mouth is just a little too filthy for me.
Oh, really?
It's F this. Yeah. And I thought coming from her, and she was about one of the honoriest girls I knew. I thought if she can't put up with it, maybe. And a lot of really good comedians. Yeah, stop it. Just don't, I'll come and listen to you, but stop it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, if you had to pick, if you had to pick one career to pursue the rest of your life, which one would it be? Of your aviation, comedy, teaching, principal, which one would it be?
The teaching is very, very rewarding. You know that. I still teach people how to fly airplanes, the little airplanes. As a matter of fact, this will answer it's what a reward. I just was with the young kid. He's on TikTok too. I was just with him yesterday, and if you'll go to TikTok, you'll see me and him in an airplane flying, and he just took that picture yesterday. Go do it. Type in Emma Oeva, and
I can do it. I got
he's already got his license.
I got ADHD.
Yeah, I understand. Probably teaching.
I'll look right after we finish, though.
Probably teaching.
Teaching.
It's very fulfilling, very rewarding.
Yeah, and it's like doing stand-up, actually, pretty much, because you have to keep them engaged. You have to make them laugh. You have to know when not to do. There's a bunch of elements to that that's very remnants of comedy. So I can see teaching.
To give you an example, my next set, hopefully coming up, is probably going to be in Bloomington, Indiana, which is south of Indianapolis, Indiana by 50 miles. That's where John Mellencamp lives and grew up.
Yes,
I love to drive. He lives in Seymour, Indiana. And get this, I've learned in my older age to combine my flight training, fly to the show in my airplane, train some guys, have them pay me to teach them, and then at night I'll go to the local comedy club and try to get on stage. And I'll contact them a few weeks before. So I've already contacted. It's called Comedy Attic in Bloomington, Illinois, and it's kind of a small town, little college town. But I tell you what, Rachel Feinstein was just there. Rachel out of New York. Jackie Cation was just there. Bobcat Goldthwait is coming up. He's going to be there in a couple of weeks. You remember? I remember Bobcat. Remember? Bobcat's going to be there.
Yes. Yeah. I remember.
That was him. So
well, that's
October.
Awesome.
Yeah.
October.
So
in
October, probably the second week of October, I'll get in my little spinny airplane with 2 seats in it. I'll fly to Bloomington probably on a Monday or Tuesday. I'll teach these 2 guys how to test fly their new airplanes that they built in their garage. Get this. Really? First flights. Both of them are first flights. And then at night, Wednesday night, I'll go down to the Comedy Attic in Bloomington, Illinois, and try out some of my new jokes.
Wow.
And then the next day I'll fly with them some more. If they like me, they'll bring me back Thursday, Friday night, and Saturday morning, I'll fly back home.
That's amazing. And so your plane is like your car. Like I use my car is how you use your plane. Pretty much.
It is. Absolutely. We all use them like our cars. Pilots why drive somewhere when you can fly?
I know.
So here's another favorite place I love to go. You go look at my Emma Oeva TikTok page, and we'll do another one of these. Then you'll have a whole new bunch of questions to ask.
Okay.
So another favorite is Bozeman, Montana. Bozeman, Montana is right at the north edge of Yellowstone National Park. This is where the stupid tourists go up and try to pet the buffalo. Have you ever seen this? And then the buffalo puts his horn up their butt and flips them 3 or 4 times. But anyway, I was at the Last Chance Comedy Club is in Bozeman, Montana. And anytime I deliver an airplane or do training out there, at night I go to the Last Chance. Isn't that a great name? Last Chance Comedy Club. And it's run by a couple of local guys, and they're just great, young kids. And so when you're there, most comedy clubs want you to buy it drinks, 2-3 drink. You know, it helps pay for the waitresses and everything. So, or you can bring your own friends, right? You know, load the place up. So we're sitting there one night, and I wasn't performing, but I was watching, and I was just having a good time watching. And it gets to an intermission. We take a break, and I'm going to go outside to see what, you know, just get some fresh air. The owner said, "Hey, if you go out the back door where the comics are at," he said, "be sure to make a lot of noise when you're out there, because the garbage cans are out there, and the grizzly bears like to go digging through the trash cans at night." And I said, "Like grizzly, 10-foot tall, 800-pound grizzly bears? Yeah, those grizzly bears." I said, "Do they ever get it? Anybody?" And he says, "Not usually. If the trash can is full, they're good." You know, I didn't see any. I just love that admonition. You be careful. The grizzlies are out there. You know,
That's crazy.
It depends on what part of the country you're in. You know, the grizzly bears will get you.
Ooh, grizzly! I wouldn't want to run into one of them. So I only got a couple more questions for you. So you basically have achieved your comedy career goal, because you're still working as a comic.
You know, it's been, you know, I didn't make a lot of money at it, but oh my gosh, it's something that just gives me a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure. You know, here's one. I referenced a lady named Jana, and if you're watching Jana, you'll be laughing your butt off at home. What makes my mind go to these things? So all of my little friends that we fly airplanes at the airport, the airplanes are a long ways away from the main office, so they put porta potties. Airports are notorious for porta potties, and I don't know what your feeling on a porta potty is, Tanya. We don't need to get into that, but for some reason, I noticed our local porta potty where we keep our airplanes, every time it wasn't in use, the door would be cracked open and the handle would be put in there so that there's a crack, you know, for air to go in there.
Okay.
And I thought, I know who did that. I know the pilot who did that, because there's not a lot of female pilots, but there's a couple of really good ones that fly right there with us. And I knew one of them had done that, you know? So I went and looked up, researched porta potties. How do they vent? How do they get, you know? And I thought, I've got her. It says there's a pipe by the seat, and that pipe goes up to the air, and it creates, you know, when things get kind of bad smelling down there, it creates heat, and it goes up that pipe, and it sucks in through another pipe. And if it's doing right, that it's all taken care of. And I thought, I can't wait to see her. And I'm going to tell her, "You dummy, you're leaving that door open. You're running the whole premise of how a porta potty works." Okay. But then before I closed down, I looked at the bottom in parentheses. There was a little paragraph. It says, "However, if this porta potty is used at a venue like a concert or where there's hundreds of people using it, you might want to crack the door. leave the door open. It's better ventilation." And I went out the next day and I saw her and I told her this. She just about peed her pants. She goes, "How'd you know it was me?" I said, "Just sounds like something you'd do." And she says, "Well, I did." But,
gosh.
shouldn't be made fun of for trying to make it smell good.
Porta potty. Ooh,
and I thought, I was so sure I had her. And I was going to say, "Leave that door shut." And then the paragraph says, "However, if it's like at a busy place, you might want to crack the door open." So, that's how you write jokes, Tanya. That's how you write jokes, you know?
Yeah. Do you teach people comedy, like in your town? Do you teach as well? Because you have such a great point.
I don't a lot. Yeah. I don't, but there's a local Second City has some good classes here. And I've often thought I should go up, you know, like I advertise as being an improvisation person too on my website. Yeah. And improvisation is hard for most people. They can't think quick enough on their feet to make it happen. Right. And I could see doing that. It's fun. Yeah.
I did it for.
By the way, hi to all my Chapter 95. Mark, if you're out there, he's watching. Warren, all these are all my little airplane buddies, you know.
Hi, airplane buddies. How are you? I'm Tanya. Fly me. That's so awesome to have a plane, man. I think that's cool because you can like be like, oh, we're going. I'll meet you there.
It is. It is.
I'll meet you there. That's awesome.
So
And so
get
I have
this,
a
Tanya. Some of them have 3 and 4 airplanes. So
wow.
different color
Aren't
for
they
different
expensive
mood.
though? Aren't they? Isn't it like you got to come in with at least 60
Well,
grand
they're
minimum?
expensive. Yeah,
150,000.
that's about right.
I've heard.
60 to 100.
Yeah,
Yep.
300,000.
Easy. Easy.
Yeah, I used to date a pilot.
Yep.
So that's how I knew.
Yes,
You know,
you know.
I
But
dated
you know, it's all
a climatologist, someone who used to go to the earthquakes.
yeah. So
Yeah,
how long
weird.
will you be in London? How long are you there?
I'll be back soon. Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
back soon. I'll inbox you.
Good.
For sure. Well, I don't know if
Great.
you'll be in New York, but yeah.
I might. Tim is wanting me to come back out and do some live stuff with him
Nice.
at what's it on the Hudson, whatever it's called, Harper Dobbs Ferry.
Yeah.
And he likes to do live ones. Have you ever done any live ones there?
Oh yeah, I did
person?
one. I did one when I was there.
Tim?
Did I want to do one or
I
two?
figured-
Oh man.
I figured you had.
I did one. I did
Yeah.
two shows. I did 2 shows. I got to do 2 while I was there. Yeah, so it was awesome. It was a good crowd, nice audience.
We were
I was there. I was there recently, just very
in
recently.
in the summertime. They do them down at the Hudson
So we did it at the
Riverfront.
park, at the
The
river.
social club. Do you do it there?
Yep.
At the social?
We did there and the
Isn't that
library.
great? Oh, what
It
a
was
what a
awesome.
nice.
Beautiful crowd.
Yes.
He's got a good
So
support system.
you look out.
Yeah.
He does.
It's amazing.
He does.
Yeah. No, it's
I-
hard.
I
My
was
little
so
town.
grateful.
Little town is very hard to get comedy going. They let everybody else do it but you. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of
And
hard.
you're up by Westchester. You're at Westchester.
In
Did you
Westchester,
tell
I'm
me
in a
you're up-
very little town, a very small town. So it's like hard to find
Oh my God.
any places, any spaces to do anything. So I got tired of begging. I don't like begging people. I'm not a beggar.
I know.
you know.
No.
I'm
Tim
like,
is
I'll
he's
just
hooked
go
up.
somewhere else. Yeah.
You know,
I don't
I
like
met Kate Nichols, who does all of hers downtown New York. Kate was there,
begging.
and just some great other comedians were there the times I went out. I stayed in Ardsley. You know where Ardsley?
I know Ardsley.
Just
I
up
have a
the
brother-
hill
I have a
from the
brother that
river.
was,
You know,
yeah, I know Ardsley very well. I've been looking for a brother who was adopted off right near there.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of Ardsley. I like to visit every now and then, see if I can get a clue. So before I let you go,
Thank you.
Well, you talk. No,
Yes.
thank you. But one last question: what advice would you give to younger comedians who's looking to follow in your footsteps?
You got to go do it. You've got some things that you think are funny.
Right.
Wherever you're at, start local. Like you said,
Mhm.
type in local comedy clubs, do the
Mhm.
open mic nights. No matter how good you get, there's nothing better than going back to do an open mic. And sometimes they won't let you do it because they'll go, "Hey, you've done this before. You're not a first timer." And I said, "Well, I'm funny." Okay.
Yeah.
They'll give you a slot. But
Yeah.
you've got to be able to do 5 minutes and
Yes.
just be yourself. Be yourself. Go up there and do it. And even try to go visit the club and sit in the back row and watch which ones are good and which ones are average, and then try to go do it.
Find your niche, as they say. Yeah, that's what everybody says. That write the
Yes.
jokes every day, even if it doesn't make sense. Write down whatever it is you're coming up with, and then most importantly, I like to
Yes.
record myself when I go to mics. I record
Okay.
myself because if you record yourself, you can hear how you sound. You don't even need to ask anybody how you did. The applause will tell you if it's real or not real.
Yes.
They'll tell you, right? It's
Yes.
amazing. That was the best advice I've ever got. Bring a tape recorder. And I was like, why? And I bought it and I was
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, you clearly see the difference. Like, this joke, we got to do something with this. It needs a rework or something. Or you're like, oh wow, that really hit. I got something here. So you just perfect it. And I'm willing to take 20 years. I'm going to be the oldest comedian ever to make it. And I'm willing, I'm okay with that. That's the part that people don't, they want to be like, a Kevin Hart or whoever. I don't want to be them. I want to be me.
No,
And
yourself.
yeah, I want to be me. And I just want to make people laugh. And I can do that anywhere. I'm okay with that.
So I'll leave you with this one last joke. I wrote this because of my age, and it just always gets a laugh everywhere I go.
Bring it down.
So as a younger man, I was always I like the girls that are a little younger than me. I like girls, I'm still into that. So I'd find a girl that was 10 years younger or 15, whatever, and she would refer to me as her sugar daddy. They like to use that term. But now that I'm getting to be 75 years old, I'm more of an insulin daddy.
Insulin daddy. Insulin papa.
You like that, didn't you?
Insulin papa.
Yeah.
That's good. That's very good.
And it just goes on and on. It goes for the old jokes. I'm much better in bed at 75 than I was at 65. I don't fall out near as much or have to get up and go to the bathroom near as much. So much better.
That's good stuff.
See, you thought it was going to be something nasty and honored.
Oh, no, I knew you would. No, I knew you. I was like, we're live. But it's all good. It's all good. Guys, you've been watching On the Town, and I'm here with comedian Johny Bob Musgrave. Tell me the correct way to say it. Grave. Musgrave? Musgrave?
Like a cemetery. Grave. Like a cemetery.
Yeah, but the first
cemetery,
part.
grave site.
Musgrave?
Johny Bob Must like a musgrave. Musgrave. Must. Like Musclone.
Like Musclone.
Musgrave.
Bob Musgrave.
You got it.
I'll add a little pinch to it.
Perfect.
But thank you so much
Thanks,
for taking the time to join us. I appreciate you. And hang out with us while I say goodbye to everybody. Just hang out with us. Guys,
I will.
Next week, I want you to make sure, if you can, to check us out because it's Tuesday. I think the 24th, whatever day the 24th is. I want you to see that our guest will be what's his name? Let's see. The author of Childcatcher. Sorry, it's a new book coming out. He already wrote a #1 Times bestseller. So make sure you check out the 24th, September 24th show. Okay, that's what I'd like you to do. And everybody else, and just hang out. Thank you for watching. I appreciate Bob, your friends and your fans and your aviators out there. Keep flying. I'm jealous. I'd like to get me a pilot license. You know what I'm saying? One day. And keep flying.
Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah. All right. So hang out with me, Bob. Hold on. Bye, guys.